Welcome to Tech Brothers Damir. In this video, we are going to learn how to use Datastream to copy data from a Cloud SQL Server to the BigQuery in GCP. So let's go ahead and take a look. First of all, what I have here, there is my project my playground, and here I have created a SQL Server. So you can see it's called SQL Server 2019 Standard Edition. You can create an Enterprise or Enterprise Plus depending upon your need, but I just created for this demo. Let's click right there and take a look. So first of all, I don't have a whole lot databases or any other items on this server. It is a simple SQL server on the GCP. Now what we have, we can go ahead and create a database here, or we can use SSMS to create the database. I'm gonna go ahead and create a database here. Let's call this database TestDB. Now this TestDB is almost created, and now we would like to connect to this server by using SSMS. You can use Azure Azure Data Studio or SSMS or any other tool you like. I'm gonna use this IP from here. This is public IP I have on this server, and I have added my IP in the allow networks, and that's how it's letting me do that. If you want to take a look, you can go to the connections here. In the connections, you will see my IP is added, so I can access this server. So here see authorized network, and here is my IP added. Okay, let's open SSMS, and here we are going to disconnect, and I'm going to show you how to connect. So you will connect, then go to the database engine, and here you will provide the IP of that server. As we already have copied and I was connected, so it is showing me that IP, and the user is called the SQL Server. So that's a default user it creates when you install SQL Server on the cloud, GCP cloud. Now you provide the IP. If you need to watch how to create SQL Server on GCP cloud, I have a separate video for that, so look for that in my channel. Now connect, and you will see the databases, system databases, and also you will see the TestDB that we just created. So when if you see right there, this is a Linux sign here. So when you create the SQL Server database on GCP cloud, it install on the Linux operating system VMs. So here you will go ahead and take a look. Here is a TestDB. So great, we can create a table if you want. So let's go ahead and create one table here, and it's called the customer table. It has customer ID, and that's a primary key. I'm gonna go ahead and select the database from drop down, or I can use statements such as use database and then create this table. Now we are all good here. We can go here and take a look, and our table should be there. You guys are already familiar with SQL Server. There are a lot of tutorial we have created how to access the database tables and all those kind of things. So you can right click here and say select query, and it's going to show you all the records in the customer table. Great, we have 10 records. Now our next step is we want to set up the data stream. So anything happen to the customer table, we insert the records, delete the records, or update the records. We would like those records to replicate in the BigQuery. So automatically there should be a data stream job that will be created, and that will extract any changes from the customer table and put it there. We can also create maybe one more table. I'm going to go to the chat GPT, and then I'm going to type create me product table for SQL Server with primary key, and insert 5 records or 10 maybe. Okay, let's do 10 records, but we'll insert 5 and leave 5 for the later. So we'll use them to insert them for testing purpose. So it's creating me product table and some column product ID, product name, and category, and all that. So I'm gonna copy this code and go back here and open a new query, and let's or use the same query, depends. So you can simply say open a new query. Here, and we just paste it there, and you can see it is already connected to the test database. So I'm going to create this product table, and in the product table I'm going to insert only just 5 records. So in 5 records actually. Let's do 5 instead of 4. Okay, great. Now these two tables have 5 and 10 records. We can take a look just right there. I'm gonna simply say select start from so you can see. And I'm also going to make a select statement for this in the same place, so we can just run these and take a look right there. So we have two tables now. Now let's go ahead and set up a Datastream job. So we are going to go back to our instance, and here actually I have open another window, console.cloud.google.com, and I'm connected to the BigQuery. So you can always go here and change if you want to go BigQuery or SQL or any other one, or you can simply in the search for it, and it will find for you. So in this case, let's say we are going to open a new tab, duplicate, and in the duplicate I'm going to look for the Datastream. So while it's opening, I want to show you this is my BigQuery right here, and I do not have any data sets, so I'm going to create a new data set, and it should create a new data set here and that will have our tables such as product and customer from the Cloud SQL database once we set up the Datastream job. Okay, we search for Datastream, and then we are going to see Datastream right here, and then you will click on the Datastream. Okay, so Datastream API is disabled as of now. What we are going to do, we are going to hit enable, and it's going to enable, and then it is going to take us to the next window or page where we will be able to enable or create the Datastream job. So you can see the pricing here. So it is a costly process, so just make sure if you don't need to run, and just disable it or pause it, the Datastream jobs that you don't need to run, otherwise you will keep paying for it. Datastream is a serverless service that will help you to get the chain data capture from your source to the BigQuery or GCS bucket. Now we will be doing for BigQuery. So here Datastream is all set. This is the interface we are going to see. We're going to go ahead and create the Datastream job. So I'm going to click right there on plus sign, and then it is going to ask me a few questions. I'm going to call this as a DMS 101. Okay, Datastream 101 or whatever you think, you can give some proper name. And here it is asking you the source. In our case it is a SQL Server. You can see it supports self-managed SQL Server, Cloud SQL Server, and Azure SQL database. But in our case we have only SQL Server on GCP, so we are fine with that. But if you have even your SQL in the Azure, you can do that, or from on-premises as well, you can do that. I might create a video on that one as well. Now where you would like to load the data, so BigQuery in our case. Okay, Google managed encryption keys are just fine, and here there is a lot of steps we have to do. So for SQL Server source, so it is an open. And now what we are going to do, it is asking us, okay, what type of it is. It is RDS for SQL Server, Cloud SQL for SQL Server, that's what our is, self-hosted SQL Server, or Azure SQL DB. So let's select our Cloud SQL for SQL Server, and that's a SQL Server on the GCP, and it's asking you, hey, enable CDC on database. So it is telling you take this command and run. So I'm gonna go here, and then what I will do, I will open this new query on this database, and then we will run all these commands. It's asking us one by one. So I'm going to paste here, and then I will say test db. Okay, so this should complete successfully. SQL Server is not case sensitive, so I hope yeah, it's not case sensitive, so that's great. So if we will go here, SQL Server agent, let's take a look on the jobs, if any job is created. So just keep eye on that one. So it is saying job CDC test capture start successfully, CDC test cleanup is started successfully. So if we'll go to the MSDB and look for the jobs, I'm sure we will find this job. One of them is like it is running, but here in the it does not show you in the jobs tab, so don't worry about that. Now we will go back and go for next one. So we enable CDC on tables. So remember we have two tables, so I'm gonna enable for each of them. So we'll go here, paste, and here we will say schema. In our case the schema is a DBO. Let's refresh the table so you would see both tables, and it's called customer and product. So first we'll say customer, and here is your database. So we don't need the database name here. because we are already in the test database. So I'm going to go ahead and execute, and now it should be enabling the CDC on this table. Now the same process we'll do for a product. Okay, awesome. So we are done with that step. We enable the CDC on the database, then we enable the CDC on the tables. So if you don't want to enable on all of the table, that's fine. That's why I enable only on 2 of them, and I have actually for purpose of demo I add only 2. So in your case you might have more, so you will do that. Start the SQL Server agent job and make sure it is running all the time. So let's go back and take a look here. So SQL Server agent, if it is not running, you're going to go ahead and right click here and say start, but in our case it's already running, so we are fine. Now go to the next step and says enable snapshot isolation. So connect to your database running the SQL Server client, run this command. So we are gonna do that. So I'm gonna go right here. So these are prerequisites for your Datastream job. So you have to do all that. It is going to use CDC on the SQL Server side to capture the changes and throw them to the BigQuery. So we did that. Next we are going to go to the create user called Datastream. It is asking you in the Google Cloud, go to the Cloud SQL instance page, create login, and then you will run this to create the user. There are multiple ways. I mean, I can simply go from here in this security. This is also the same security, and I can simply create the login here. And if you see the logins right here, it's going to show you different logins available, and one of the login is not showing us all those logins. So we can create one here if you want, but anyways, this is the only one it is showing you that we know that we use to connect to it. And that's when you install SQL Server or create SQL Server on GCP, it create automatically. These are all auto created logins on SQL Server side. So I haven't created anyone, and that says disable. So I'm going to follow this document. So it is asking you, you go to your SQL Server page right here, and once you are on the SQL Server instance, then you are going to create a login. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you go to the users. Once you are on this page, you will say add user account, and here I'm going to call this one let's say Datastream. That's just call Datastream, you know, nothing more than that, and then provide the password. Okay, so add it. Now Datastream user is added right here, and if I go back to my SQL SSMS and refresh this main security tab, not the security tab under the database, but under the main tab. So this is our server and this is our main security. So if I'll go to logins here, I will see the Datastream user is created now. Next part, what we have to do, we have to create a user inside that database for that login. So see, it is asking you create user for your login. So I'm going to copy this, go to my database. Here is I'm connected to TestDB, so I'm going to create a user. So if I will show you here, if I will go to the TestDB, and there is a security inside here as well, you don't have any user here such as Datastream. As of now, you don't have it. You have CDC user and you have DB user. That's the CDC comes because we enable the CDC on the database. So it is asking you, hey, what username you would like to create for, and which login. We know that our login name is Datastream, so I'm gonna go actually with the same name. So I'm saying like, hey, go ahead and create a user with the name Datastream for the login Datastream. So go ahead and do that. Now that's completed successfully. Let's refresh. So you see right there, Datastream user is created, but it does not have any permissions. So we have to provide some permission. In this case, it is asking me or telling me these 2 permissions are needed. So I'm going to copy these 2 permissions and bring it back here. So I will go ahead and paste it here, and now we can simply, I know that I'm already in the database TestDB and my user is a Datastream. So I just paste it here, and it is asking DB owner and deny data writer. So we will be providing 2 permissions or 2 roles to it. So we will give a data owner, so it will have everything, but we are denying the data writer permission. So now if we open it, it will show us those permissions. Okay, see right there, data owner and deny data writer. I could have simply double click here and provide these permissions, so it doesn't really matter. But if you can use the script, I'm using script, so you will follow along with this document. This is actually very critical, and this is also a pain. So go additional steps for transaction log CDC method. So these are other things we have to do. I'm going to open this document and then go through all of them. So as of now, if you guys remember, once you open that, it opened this page. So that's I believe that's not a right page. Ask me why, because if you are looking at the page and which is selected, it says that additional steps required for a transaction log CDC method. So I was doing CDC for my Cloud SQL Server that's on GCP, so it should open me and bring me directly on this site right here, says Cloud SQL for SQL Server, but it brought me here. So if I will take these commands and try to run, it's going to throw me error. So I'm going to go to this page which says Cloud SQL for SQL Server database, and then I'm going to follow these steps. So first of all, first step is saying execute Cloud SQL CDC on database. We have already run it. That was the first step. It showed us on this place. So if you remember, this is the first step right here. So anyways, then it says, hey, enable on the tables, that we already have done it. So that's also was shown here. Now we can skip all that, and this is also done. Remember that we did allow snapshot isolation on. Now create user, we have already done that. We have already provided the permission. So we are going to start from here. These are the additional steps we have to follow. Now set the retention period for which you want the changes to be available on your source. So if you would like to, let's say, have this polling interval, so the polling interval parameter is measured in seconds with the recommended value set to the 86399. This means that the transaction log retain changes for these many seconds. That's almost for 1 day. Executing the SPCD start job capture procedure, initiate the changes. So if something happened, let's say your Datastream job is not working and the logs are still like, you don't want to flush the logs, you want to have the logs. So if your job failed for 1 hour and come back, you want to capture those logs again. So this is what it is asking you. So we are going to go ahead and say test DB. On this test DB, go ahead and set this interval. So I'm going to copy, leave 1 day. That's a long time, so we should not have any problem. Now test database, and then we are fine here. And if I execute this whole thing, if you remember that when we enable the CDC, it did automatically, if you remember that, it did stop and start capturing right away. So we are adding this extra parameter now. So that's if I will run the whole thing, it's gonna be like, it might throw error, but let's see. Okay, see, it says request to run CDC. This refused because job is already running from request user SA. So that is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and run this command only. Okay, and if I want to say like separate, maybe start again instead of okay, I just started instead of stopping, so I don't have stop, but it is already started successfully. That's fine. Let's see if I start. Okay, stop is fine again. After I run separate, it worked, but is the whole thing, it did not work. So you can run these two and then stop it and then start it. So that will work great. Now we will go and to the next one. Set up longer truncate safeguard to make sure the CDC reader has enough time to read the logs while allowing log truncation to prevent using up the storage space. You can set up the log truncation safeguard. Connect to the database, create a dummy table, and then this is a safeguard you want to create. They will give you time for how long you want to have that safeguard. So what you want to do, you want to copy this. Just this is copy paste. So you will paste this code here. This is a dummy table it is creating in your database, and then it will use in a store procedure that I will show you. So now you have this store procedure that runs active transaction for a period that you specify to prevent log truncation. Okay, so we will go to the next time, and everything is later on in this page. So you will have you will go ahead and create this store procedure, because this store procedure is used in another store procedure, so that's fine, no big deal. So this store procedure is used in this store procedure, and I'm going to copy this and create this store procedure as well. So you can create a new query. Okay, create. So we didn't make any changes here, so but if you go, and I'm going to just show you it create a job, or it is going to create a job actually. So I'm going to show you how it's going to work. So we created this store procedure. The first store procedure was called in this one, but this is the actual work that need to be done. Execute the store procedure that create a data stream job. So it's going to create a data stream job, and you see that transaction logs retention time, and that's what you need to provide here. Replace int with the number of minutes for which you want to retain the logs. So for example, you want to have 60, or for whole day, or for 3 days, you can provide this information. I think 60 is fine, but in case you feel like it, there is more time you need, you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, and this will create a job, and that will run every few minutes. Actually it will, let's take a look on the schedule. So it's gonna create a job. So it did create a job right here. We can take a look, and if we go ahead and open this job, it's gonna let's go to properties, and we provided 60 minutes. So now if we go to steps, it has that store procedure with this created. Is called Datastream log truncation safeguard. So that's the one, and here is the value for 60. And if we go back to the advanced here, okay, let me actually cancel this, go to steps, schedule, and it has the schedule right here. So you can take a look. It runs every 60 minutes. So it's gonna use that 60 minutes schedule to clean that log for us. Okay, that's fine. But if you feel like you want to keep them for a long time, you can always change to the different value, if you remember that here. So replace integer with the number of minutes for which you want to retain the logs, so you can change, but in my case 60 is a lot. And last step is enable the point in time recovery on SQL side, if you haven't done that before. So I'm gonna go to the overview, and in the overview, once you are there, you can go to edit and then enable a point in time recovery. So I see right here point in time recovery is disabled for me, and I'm going to go to edit and then hit point in time recovery enable. So we will click on data protection, and once we click on data protection, it has this checkbox where you will say enable point in time recovery. So you're going to click yes, and then you have for enterprise edition, you can have only 7 days logs. You cannot go more than that, so we are going to go with the 7 days. You can also actually have less than days logs as well, so that's just fine, but depending on your need, you will go ahead and save it. Once all the changes are saved, we are going to go back to our Datastream job and finish it. So let's go there and move to the next step. I believe it will be fine. Now we are going to go hit continue, and then now we are going to create a profile. So that's the profile for our source. So we will go right here and create our profile, and here we will give the name. So I'm going to call it Tech SQL source. Now you will be providing the IP of your host. So I'm going to go back here and copy this IP of my SQL server, come back here and paste it there. Now you will be providing a username. So remember that Datastream is our user, and we provide our password. And now the next is we will select our database. So we are going to have a test DB. So that's our database. Now in the connectivity method, you will go ahead and take a look. There are multiple connectivity methods. So you can use allow IP allow list, or forward SSH tunnel, or private connectivity. If I would have my SQL Server installed with the VPC and all those kind of things, I will use it. But my SQL Server is actually I have set up with the public IP, so I can simply use the IP allow list, but depending upon your setup, you will choose one of them. So I'm gonna go with that one, and once I do that, it's gonna give me the list of those IPs that will be used for the data stream. So I have to add these IPs to the my SQL server. So I'm gonna copy this, and let me add that. I can add as a range, or I can still make that change for a point in time recovery. So let it make the change. Let's go ahead and add those IPs for the data stream, and then we should be good to go. It's taken forever somehow. Go to connections here, and in the connections we are going to go ahead and add those. I'm going to call DS1, 2, 3, and 4 and all that. You can provide a range here, but in my case I'm just going to go ahead and add one at a time. So this is our second. Once all that done, and what you're going to do, you're going to hit save button, and then it's going to take some time again to save the changes, and we should be good to go for next steps. Okay, we can continue from here and keep going. So test connection profile, so we can run the test. So once IPs are added, it should just complete fine. I'm gonna run this test now, and I'm hoping on the back end the IPs are added and everything should be good, but let's see. Okay, our test is completed, so that's great. Even still, I believe on this side you see that it's still making changes, or it actually did just got completed, so that's good. So our test is fine, and we are going to go ahead and say create and move to next steps. So it's creating the source. There are some more configuration we will be doing for our source, and here we would like to select schema and tables. So if you want to go ahead and all tables from your schema, all schemas, or you have on a custom and all that, you can do it, or specify which schema and tables. In my case, I have only DBO, and if you remember that we have created two table, customer and product. So I'm going to select only customer and product. I'm going to leave this GCP Datastream table we created in the process. That doesn't need to go into the BigQuery. That was just for creating the jobs and retention for logs and everything. So now you have two more options here. Specify the CDC method. Choose the CDC method that matches your database configuration. Remember that there is one called transaction logs, and process changes directly from database log. This method provides the best performance and is more efficient, but require additional configuration steps, which may not be supported by your database. So this is all the steps what we have taken, and we can use it. If we wouldn't have taken those steps, so we could simply use the change table. Track changes to the database tables using dedicated tables. This method is easier to configure and has fewer limitations, but will reduce throughput and create a higher load on your database. So you can select either this one or that one. As we have done all those changes and implemented all the changes in the steps you have seen, we are good with this transaction logs. So we are going to go ahead and let me show you advanced options as well. So here you have this objects to exclude. You want to do automatic backfill or manual. So I'm going to go with the automatic. If you want to exclude objects from the automatic backfill, define below, so you can have all those kind of options available. So we are going to go with the automatic backfill. So let's go ahead and hit continue, and here is your destination. We are going to create the destination profile, and it's asking you, hey, give the name. So I'm going to call it TechDB BQ. So Tech Brothers BigQuery, and it asks you, hey, which region and all that. I'm US Central one, and then I'm going to create a new. So we go ahead and it's going to create some objects for us, actually asking some question before it will do that. So data set for each schema. So you want to do multi-region or you want to do region. I'm going to leave it the multi-region, and it is asking you data set prefix. So you can provide let's say we call it a TechDB BQ. Okay, so that's what we did. So we are going to see that. Now single data set for all schema, if you want to do that, you can just add it here and provide that as well. So if you want to create a new data set, you can do it. Okay, let's create a new data set instead of prefixing. So we want to say tech dp or tech bq, that's it. And it's a multi-region. We don't want to do any table expiration and everything, so we are just going to create a called tech bq. That's our data set. You want to do merge or you want to do append only. So you can in the merge is upsert. So it's a merge, like if it is going to be new records, it will insert. If it is old record with update or delete, is gonna just do those operation in the BigQuery. So you will have a merge statement like a simple upsert. If you want to just append the values, so it's not gonna update or delete the data, it's gonna keep appending it. So you will select that one depending on your scenario and how often you want to do it. In my case, let's say if we will do 0 seconds, so we can do that. Now with the this also depends like your need. If you are okay with that, like every 15 minutes or 5 minutes, you will go with that. I don't really recommend with going 0, but it depends upon your need. Like if you want a more real-time data, you will go with this. Otherwise you can have like 5-minute delay. The job will keep running every 5 minutes to keep pushing the data to the BigQuery. Now we will go with the maybe just let's go with 0 now and hit and run the validation. Okay, all the validation get completed successfully, no issues or no errors. That's great. But sometime you would see some warnings or something that, so take care of them, not a big deal. If you get permission issue or some addition or everything, you are gonna take a look from here and go ahead and fix that. Create and start. So we are gonna go ahead and create and start. Now it's going to create the Datastream job for us, and it will be including 2 objects that we have, customer and product. Now it is going to show us the job. I'm sorry if the video has actually prolonged, so but it take time to explain all that and create all those steps. So here is your stream ID, so DMS 101, your source profile is this one, your destination is this one. So you can click here, it will show you more detail about your source. It will show you this one, show you our destination, and here is your destination data set. It tells you backfill mode, automatic. It shows you which CDC method you are using, so transaction logs. And now it's starting right now, and in a few seconds probably it will show us like running. So while it's doing this, let me take you to the BigQuery and let's refresh the BigQuery side and see if we have the new data set. So tech BQ is there. Let me see if the contents are there as well. So let's refresh the contents of tech BQ. As of now, there is no tables are created here, so it's going to create those once this part start working. Okay, while this is starting, let me explain a few more things, maybe in case you wanna take a look and make some changes. So let's say tomorrow you would like to add a new table. So what you will do, you will go to edit, and here it shows you 3 things. So edit data stream settings, edit source settings, and edit destination settings. So you can open each of them and take a look from there. So if we are in the data stream, you can click right there and it's gonna get you there. So you can make changes if you want. So here is your job name and all that. So honestly, here you might not be able to make a lot of changes, but let's see if there is an option. So you have SQL Server and destination is your BigQuery. So let me go back. Our job just started successfully, so that's great. And now you see that it's running, the status is running, and now we go to monitoring here, and it's going to show you more detail about we are going to go for 1 hour, and right now it's loading data, so might show you some information here, but there is not enough information. So go to objects here, and you see that it's running. The backfill status is pending. Now it's gonna take those tables and just then move them. So data process 30 days, it show you that information, the total size of all event process and loaded to the destination by Datastream last 30 days. So it show you all that information. Here is for 7 days the information. So it's running right now. Let's take a look on the log. So in case it fails or have some issues, you can always go to the logs and take a look from there as well. So you see that finally our logs are loaded, and you can see there is telling you CDC fetch started for log between this log and this log, and then it is completing, so you can see different information. So it also shows you number of records. I'm not able to see right now, but eventually it's gonna, if you add some more records and all that, it tells you like how many records are fetched and all, and it is completing those, fetching, completing. So that's great. Now let this load. I'm gonna take you back to the data stream, and here is still pending. Maybe it's yeah, just completed successfully. So you see that it's running now, and there are 10 events, and this one has 5 events, and that's what it did. So we can see the detail here, and this will show you a little bit detail about schema and all that. So not too much, but just a table schema information. So if we go back to the BigQuery here, and I will go to the tech BQ, refresh the, let me refresh the contents here, and then we should see 2 tables, a customer and product. So DBA schema, customer is table. You can click right there and say query, or we can open. Once I open it, it's gonna show me the table definition, and also here is the schema, so I can see first name, last name, and all that. I can go to the detail. It tells me you know, what time it was created and all those information, how much number of rows and everything. So estimated rows is 10, and the size of this. And if I go to preview, it's gonna show me all the records I have. So as of now, it's not showing me. So if I will go ahead and let me write a query, it is maybe it's just not refreshed yet, but it is it should have records, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and select star and run it and wait for the results. Okay, so you can see that now we have the results here, so it worked great. Now same thing what happened here, we can go to the product, and I will say query, and it should show me the 5 records. So that's great. I'm going to run this, and you will see some records for the product table, and there was 5 records in SQL, so we should have 5 records here. Great. Now what we have learned, remember that we were creating this table, so I'm gonna take you to the product table, and if you remember, I only inserted 5 records here. So I'm gonna comment this out, and now I'm going to insert the rest of those 5 records. And what happened actually here, so just some records are missing. That's fine, we are gonna go insert few more, like 3. I'm gonna insert those, and then in the customer table, if you remember, I have this customer table. I can write update statement to maybe update the values for some records or delete. So if I will say update this, set first name is equal to a first plus first name. Okay, so I'm just adding this value of first to the each of the column value. So if you see right there, now it's showing me this. So if I will go back, see right there, everything first, that's I changed the values. So I could have delete actually some records too. So if I want to delete, I can delete some data. And if I will go back to the BigQuery, I'm gonna go and execute. So if you run this query for customer, now first name, let's see if it would change. It's going to take some time. Okay, so the change is done. So you see that our first is added to all of those. And if we go back to the product, now we should have 8 records, because we inserted 3 more records as well. So now we have 8 records as we inserted 3 records. I can simply go ahead and say delete some records. So if I will go and say delete all the records, so delete from table where customer ID is greater than 5. So now if we will go and take a look on the BigQuery side, it's gonna show us less records. So run this and see if it is done or not. Oh sorry, this is a product, I was in customer. Okay, great. So see that all the records are deleted where ID was greater than 5, so that works great. So you have update, delete, insert, whatever you want to do, you can have it. And now if I will show you the finally here, so you will go to Datastream job, and if I was telling you like you refresh, there should be a refresh button, but anyways I'm gonna show you log first. So just go take a look on the logs for last 5 minutes. So you will see all those changes that we did, like update, delete, and all that. So it been fetch complete. So you will see those values as well. So if I will take you here, somewhere, I can't read my glasses, my eyesight is not that great, but over here, completed writing 5 records into this data set. So if you will see any other actions will be happening, you will always see them here. So it's very helpful to read, and this is the LSN, that's a log it's been reading, so you can take a look. Here is all those information. Now let's go back to Datastream 1 second and see the number has changed, the events. So 8, we inserted 5 records in the product, then we inserted 3 more, and here we had customer table, we first inserted 10, then we made updates to all those 10, so all those events went back as well. So I was telling you, if you need to add a new column or table, you can always go edit here and go to source configuration, and then you will be able to make the changes. Here you have you can select table, or once you add new tables, so there is need to be primary key in those CDC table. So anytime you will add a new table, let's say you want to add a new table, you have to create a table, and also you have to run that statement. If you remember, we have to enable the CDC on this table. So let's say if I will have employee table, so I will create the employee table, then enable the CDC on that table, and then I will come back to the Datastream here and then add that table here, and then save, and then it will automatically take from my database and put into the BigQuery. So I hope you will learn something out of it. It will be helpful for you. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in next video.